my first YouTube video. I've been watching YouTube for over 10 years now, so talking to a camera for the first time is a little weird. I own my own photography business, Ambedo Photography. I've been doing photography for 3 years, and I've been in business for 2 years next month, so I'm pretty new, but still I've had a lot of experience in between then, so I figured I'd talk about what I'm passionate about. I want to talk about how to work with clients. Hopefully my title is much more magical than working with clients, but that's what I want to talk about. So I'm going to have 3 categories. One category is how to make clients feel comfortable. My second is posing, and my third is all the other stuff I've learned being in this industry and talking to people and learning all my own stuff. So here we go. So my first category is how to make people feel comfortable. So I'm going to be telling you some things that are hopefully kind of obvious, maybe to some, but I think they're really important to talk about. So my first tip is smile. Smiling when you're talking with clients, when they walk through your door, or if they're meeting you out for coffee at a cafe or something, so that you can talk and see them in person. So you get the feel, they get the feel for you, how you are, and you as a photographer get to feel how they are. So during the time, you smile. It just opens up and makes everyone feel more comfortable. It's something that some people don't even think about. My boyfriend, actually, he is so shy, and he is very friendly, but he doesn't smile because he's so nervous sometimes. So I always use that as my first tip, because it changes everything. It just lightens up the mood. You breathe a little bit better. It's awesome. So that's my first tip. My second tip is to joke around, not take yourself too seriously. It opens that door to communication, usually with everybody. Who doesn't like comedians? Who doesn't like feeling like they can be themselves, have that guard down? It's so important in our industry, in our career, so that like my goal in my job is to capture the personality of whoever's in front of my camera. So in order to do that, I need to make sure that they're not stressed and guarded and not letting me in. You can see that on any camera. You can see that with any photo. So that's my second tip. My third tip is get to know them. So I always meet with my clients beforehand, before the shoot, so that we get to know each other. As I said, get comfortable, get used to how I am. They can get used to how I am, and I can get used to how they are and understand what they're about, basically. So my first question that I always ask is, what's your favorite color? It's like a buddy, what's your favorite color? Everyone has a favorite color. Okay. Almost everyone has a favorite color, so it's an easy, non-intrusive question. Usually it opens the door anyway to conversation. I love being able to incorporate their favorite color throughout the shoot as well. So if they love blue, I'm like, you're wearing blue. That's it. It's going to complement your eye color, so let's do it. Or they love rainbow, so we are going to go find some cool wall art or incorporate all the colors that we can. Maybe they wear a crazy outfit with all the colors. It's going to be so important to show their likes and interests in the shoot as well. So it helps them understand that you care. And I want to get to know them. So it's my job is interacting with people. So I love getting the chance to ask questions to get to know them. So favorite color, favorite food. I love that question. Favorite movie. I love asking that too. But a lot of people will be like, I don't have a favorite movie. And I'm like, I'm a film junkie, so how can you not like movies? It's fun to get to know each other that way. If they happen to have the same favorite color as me, which is blue and black, by the way, even though black is a shade, whatever. So I love sharing pieces of myself too, so they're not just looking at a camera, they're looking at the person behind the camera. It helps them understand that it's not just a machine that's working this whole shoot with them. That's not who, the camera isn't just looking at you, I'm looking at you too, so it's important for you to get to know me too. So that's my third tip. My fourth tip is compliment but mean it. Oh my gosh, so I love complimenting. That's just my personality anyway. If I see someone with cute shoes, I'm gonna go up to them and say, you have cute shoes. It's just it's in me, it's innate. But I think it's really important to compliment because it always makes someone feel good. But don't just compliment things that you don't actually feel that are special about them or unique or special or anything like that. Don't just compliment on things that you don't actually mean. Like, if you actually don't like their shirt, don't compliment on it, stuff like that, because they can tell it's forced. It's just not beneficial to anybody. I know that when somebody compliments me, it lightens my whole day and lightens my whole mood, and I get my confidence back. It's so important. So I compliment all the time. It doesn't help I'm a photographer. I'm a very visual person. So if you have beautiful eyes, I'm going to say, hey, can I steal your eye color? I've always wanted blah, blah, blah. Usually it's blue. I love blue eyes. I've always wanted blue eyes. I was blessed with pretty much poop brown eyes. One eye is greener than the other, so maybe you'll see that as we keep filming. But anyway, so I find it super important. It helps people to bring their guard down again, and it makes them feel good. That's the whole point of my job as well. So yeah, that's my last tip for how to make people feel comfortable. Now, category 2, posing. So this one is the most connected to my job. I feel like the other ones you can just use in everyday life in your industry anyway. But for photography, posing is, it's bread and butter. It's what you do. Even if you're not working with models, even when you're working with models, you want to know how to pose them, even though they know how to pose their bodies pretty damn well. But when you have a vision, you want to carry that through. Anyway, so posing, I think is so important to talk about. My first tip with posing for clients is just honestly make Pinterest boards. Get your inspiration. I even add some of my past clients that I've worked with into my albums so that I use them as inspiration because I liked how they posed and how I arranged them, whatever. So using other photographers' poses, if you even love dancers or any, oh my gosh, album covers of bands. I love using Nirvana as a reference. Here, I'll put some pictures up here. And I think that having those ideas floating in your head, you're not copying those poses, but you're getting influence from those poses. It's so liberating to know that you, in the back of your head, you have stuff ready. Number 2 with posing and working with clients is key in to their mannerisms. So how they move their hands, how they like to normally lay their body. Hopefully they're like comfortable enough. That's the whole goal, is to get them their guard down, so you get them comfortable enough to show their true selves and work with that. So a lot of people though, when you first get them to pose and you say, can you stand over there please? They stand and they're stressed up. They're just so stressed. They hold their breath. It's a hot disaster. So hopefully you're like, can you stand over there? And then say, just go blah, 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 and relax and loosen yourself up. And then you start seeing it as, or you normally see people's body movements when you have them sit down. You see them cross their legs or they cross their hands a certain way. Oop, I almost dropped my phone. Normally I like to use people sitting down as a way to see their mannerisms, because when you have them sit, then they might cross their legs or they might lay their hands a certain way. It just shows what they normally do with their body. Even when they're walking, you see how their feet normally lay and what they do with their hands. It's so special, and I love using those things. Even like certain looks that they have, I always love doing that. So it's so funny to see like what makes them happy and what like makes them do a certain look and certain face. It's awesome. So work with their natural body movements, their natural language, because it's how you really capture their personality. That's the whole point. So my third tip is that triangles are everything. We think about in photography, if you've ever taken a photography class, the rule of thirds, with landscapes and a lot of other compositions. Side note, if you watch Lord of the Rings, you see a whole bunch of rule of thirds just in every composition. It is amazing and it's beautiful. So if you're a Lord of the Rings nerd like me, you know what it's like. I'll put some things up here too. So threes in photography are so important anyway. It's just so pleasing to the eye, and most of the time with threes anyway, it brings you into the composition. It brings you in so that you're bouncing around in the triangle rather than wandering your eyes outside of the picture. So that's why we use threes all the time. So with triangles with posing, I'll put a lot of pictures here. We all have elbows and arms and legs and knees and everything. So making triangles with your body. You'll see it in really like old school portraiture, formal portraiture especially, you'll see a lot of triangles. But if you look at Vogue, oh my gosh, they use triangles all the time. Some of my favorite poses have triangles. It's so pleasing to the eye, and it makes your eye move in that triangle position, keeping you in the composition. It's so amazing. So triangles, if you're ever stuck on a pose, if you're not sure what to do, think of how to like enhance it. Use that triangle in your head so that you can keep that in mind so that you can move people in triangles. My fourth tip is when you see them getting stressed again, getting very posy, I love telling them to go, okay, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And you see their whole body relax. Their shoulders are back where they should be instead of, and you see their chest, get to where it is supposed to be too. It's more relaxed. Their facial muscles are more relaxed. It's magical. So I love, like when I see them getting a little bit anxious, I always, with clients, tell them to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. And we'll do it together because it doesn't hurt for us to do it either. Monks use these breathing exercises. It's been proven by science to calm and meditate, and so you get clarity and calm, and it's the only thing that we can hijack in our system. So we actually infiltrate our nervous system to make it calm down and go to the good place, the place it needs to be. So I love doing the breathing exercise. My fifth tip, and a lot of my previous clients always make fun of me for this, but they thank me for it for their photos. So it means everything. So when you're working with clients, make your clients giggle, make them laugh, make sure that they laugh. If you can make silly jokes. I'm still working on my joke log. I only have like two knock jokes on hand. But anyway, so instead of just putting in all that work being a comedian, I tell them, make yourself giggle. And they'll be like, what? I'm like, make yourself giggle. And I go, ha ha ha. And then I'll end up making them giggle. And you get that actual real smile. Here, I'll put a picture of here versus fake smiles versus real smiles. It changes everything. Seeing that real smile, you see that their face muscles are totally different. Their eyes are like glowing. They look like they're so full of life, and it's so liberating to see that because you get their soul, you get their actual personality. So yeah, I love to use the giggle laugh trick. Or laugh at each other, and they'll do either fake laughs, ha ha ha, until they actually end up laughing. It is awesome. So that's my fifth tip. My sixth tip is to I think about all these people all the time. So actors, athletes, dancers, models, they know every piece of their body. So they know how to move their fingers to look and portray what they're trying to mean, or their feet to make lines. So with actors, really good transformative actors, they change their hand movements. They change their facial expressions. A smile of their last character does not look like the same smile of this character. It's unreal. So they're so in tune with every inch of their body. Dancers have to be in tune with their body for getting those correct lines or telling the story that they're trying to convey. Sonia, I loved her contemporary choreography, and she'd always have hands do this. And it always was a signature of her, and it was important for the dancers to convey that meaning. And with athletes, they have to be aware of every inch of their body so that they can be the most effective at their sport. So it's so important for us to keep in mind as photographers, normal everyday people. I don't think about where my body is at every moment. Maybe I should, it'd help my job. But if you as a photographer are aware that of how they're positioning their body, you can always tweak it. And you can always keep that in mind that they're not totally in their body at the moment. They're not in the present. They're worried about all this, how they look, blah, blah, blah. So it's your job to kind of think like an actor and pose them in the way that an actor would want to be to portray that story. My next tip is to always start clients off with easier poses to more complicated poses, so you can stretch their comfort zones, basically. Not break them, but stretch them. When you break them, it's a horrible time. You break the trust that you had between you guys. You have the complication of maybe breaking their confidence, their comfortability that we worked so hard on in the beginning. So we like to stretch the comfort zone, not break the comfort zone. So to me, it just seems like such an important thing to stretch comfort zones to get their true personality and maybe show a different image than they would normally as it is. It's a time, usually with singers, it's a time to really show off who you are and who you want to be. So doing a photo shoot is a perfect time to do that. So yeah, that's my next tip. My last tip for posing is to model that pose for your client as a photographer. Put yourself in that position to show them what you want them to do, because then they actually understand what it means, and you're taking less time fumbling with words and you're spelling it out for them right then and there, so that it's more legible to the client. The clients aren't often posing all the time. So yeah. Now we're on to the third category, which is other tips, etc. One of my tips is to give feedback while you're photographing people. I think a lot of the time when you're not talking, it feels really kind of voyeuristic in a way, because they're not sure what you're thinking, and you're staring at someone through the camera, which that's not what photography is about, in my opinion. So I always give feedback. I love saying, oh my gosh, you look so beautiful, this is perfect. Hey, can you turn your head just a little bit for me? That is perfect, you're doing a great job. I'm gonna take this photo. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next pose. It is so much more fun and keeps the energy alive when you're talking to and you're giving feedback. I have one model in particular that told me, she's like, I love working with you as a photographer because you give the energy that I need to keep going and be positive, and I know that I'm doing well and it feels so good. And I want my clients, my models, my people to feel that all the time. My last etc. tip, apparently there's only 2 on there, is stay away from negative language. I was not coherent of that while I was first being a photographer. I would always say, oh, that pose didn't work, let's move on to the next one. Which isn't the worst thing in the world, don't get me wrong. It's not saying, oh my god, you're awful, you're ugly, blah, blah, blah. That's horrible stuff. Just staying away from that negative language, because when I say, oh, that pose didn't work, they're subconsciously or otherwise thinking, it's my fault, I did something wrong. When in fact, I'm saying that no, I didn't frame you in the best way. Wait, let's do another one, because that's part of being a photographer too, is trying different things and being unique and trying different things for your own growth. So if something doesn't work, then you're like, okay, let's move on. But in their head, they're thinking about that and taking away confidence, and you never want to do that. You want to keep it open. You want to make sure their guard's down. You want that real smile. You want that real personality showing through. You want their movements. It's so important to stay away from that negative language. It's just, you don't want to convey the wrong message. So what I do now, instead of saying that pose didn't work, let's move on, I in my head, like, that pose didn't work, I click take a photo and then I move on to the next pose. I say, okay, let's go to the next pose. It's nothing, and that way it just takes away that negative connotation and takes away that subconscious thought. So yeah, so we're at the end of the video. My first YouTube video. So if you liked this, if you're looking for more photography content, I also want to talk about a lot of other things that we'll get into later. But to start off with, I want to talk about photography and videography and everything I'm passionate about. And if you want to stick around for this ride, if you want to see more of my face, then I say like this video, subscribe, ring the notification bell. Hopefully that works, so that you're informed on my next uploads, which hopefully are pretty consistent. Goodbye. Mwah. Hope to see you on the next one.